We are live December the 15th. The
Finally
football
back.
season is in the books. What's
Flew
up,
by.
Mike?
Not much. It's kind of hard to believe that it's been a whole week since the Super Bowl already.
Yeah. And everything that I think we talked before the Super Bowl the week before the Super Bowl, and it was just like, oh my God, like we're at the end.
Yeah.
And now that it's over, it's just like you want it back, but
Yeah.
you also like next year it's on pace to be hopefully a completely normal season or close to being a very normal season. Definitely more normal than what we saw last year, but regardless, a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, a season's a season. Tom Brady has 7 rings. What did you think about the game?
Well, I'll just throw this out there as a little disclaimer right now. I went to bed after Leonard Fournette scored to make it what? I think it was like 28-9, something like that. The game was over, and I didn't want to watch any more of it. But I mean, it was as a Mahomes guy, it was rough to watch him get just smoked. Like there was no time to breathe. And credit Todd Bowles and his defensive game plan taking advantage of matchups that they liked with those backup tackles being in. And I bet on Shaq Barrett to win MVP. It was like 5 to win 110 on that. And if Brady didn't throw 3 touchdowns, I think maybe it could have hit.
Yeah, I think the most surprising part about that game was how inept the Kansas City Chiefs were. Offensively, defensively. I expected them to score a lot more points, to move the football, to be functional. They weren't functional. They weren't it was Mahomes running around and trying to make things happen when there was nothing there. And like you said, that's on the Todd Bowles game plan. The credit is due to Todd Bowles. The credit's due to Bruce Arians on crafting a defensive game plan to shut them down, and that's what they did. Also, the Kansas City Chiefs were definitely distracted throughout the week with everything going on with Britt Reed and that whole situation. So I think that definitely fed into it. It's very difficult to win, like we said. It's very difficult to win 2 straight Super Bowls back to back. It's very difficult to win a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. And that's that. And with that being said, Tampa Bay just flew. Brady just flew. The defense flew. They just look comfortable. They all look comfortable. And you could tell that's their home field. That's their home city. That's their home. They use their own facilities. It was just the comfort level was there for Tampa Bay. And they deserved it. I think they really deserved it. Tom Brady deserved it. Arians deserved it. It was fun.
Yeah, you could really tell there was a real sense of confidence with this team. And every player on that roster really believed that they were going to win. And I want to point out and call out Tyrann Mathieu for getting in Tom Brady's face at the beginning of the Super. You're giving Tom Brady more motivation to win a Super Bowl. It just doesn't make any sense. And who the fuck are you, Tyrann Mathieu? Even before he whooped your ass, he's the greatest quarterback in the history of this sport.
I mean, there's no debate going into that game. I think it's just strengthening that argument. And even if Tom Brady and the Bucs didn't win, it also goes to show that Tom Brady can do it with another team.
Yeah,
and a different group of guys.
This whole season was a big middle finger to Bill Belichick, and I'm not going to write off the Patriots though.
You shouldn't.
I'm still
high Bill on Belichick is still the greatest coach of all time,
no doubt.
I just think he was dealt a lot of bad cards this year.
Yeah.
And, I think they had a lot of defensive guys opt out. I think they had 11, right?
I don't know the exact number, but I feel like it was a whole lot more than any other team.
Yeah. Cam Newton just wasn't
Not good.
2015 Cam Newton by any stretch. He was horrible. I just think they had a lot of bad. They were put in a lot of bad positions, and obviously without Brady there, I mean, without Brady there, it's a different story. But
you're gonna fall off a little bit losing a guy like that.
But I mean, you still have an aspect from that time there in Belichick, and this is a guy that knows what he's doing. So New England, I think New England's a quarterback away. They're a quarterback away. They're a quarterback and a couple skill players away. I think defensively they'll be all right.
Yeah.
So.
And for Tom Brady, I think this puts him up on to like the upper echelon of like athletes, not just football players. He's up there with
easily, hands down.
Jordan's, Gretzky's, fucking Tiger Woods, people like that.
Easily. I mean, there's no question about that. I think because this is, I mean, you look at winners. You just look at winners. Like, these are just winners, and you look at their work ethics. A lot of them are similar. Like, Jordan and Brady are similar.
Lots of similarities, yeah.
They win wherever they go. LeBron James win wherever he goes. Wayne, I don't know too much about Wayne Gretzky, but these are guys that just win wherever they go, and they set a high level for themselves, and you see it. And
Danny Amendola said something that I thought was really interesting a couple of weeks ago. He said the Patriot way is actually the Tom Brady way, which, I mean, coming from a guy like Danny Amendola who was there with Brady on the Patriots winning Super Bowls left and right, I think that's like a huge telling thing. Like that, Belichick obviously played his part, but I feel like and Belichick obviously is more defense and Brady kind of ran the offense more or whatever, but still, I think that's a very telling statement from someone that played there.
And for years and years and years, we thought it was a Belichick thing. It was more of a Belichick thing. And I think now it's obviously Belichick played his part. But I think if you look at the Patriots' success, with those two guys, because Belichick, I don't think Kraft really did anything. I think Kraft just like opened the door for these two. All he did was open the door for these two to kind of do their thing. But I think Belichick maybe like 30%, and then Brady 60% of the reason for success in New England, because Belichick did play his part. He brought the players in. He had the scheme. It was his system, his way.
Defenses.
So, yeah, it's just insane. It's just literally insane. I think it's a lot like the Chicago Bulls. Really, it's a lot like the Chicago Bulls with their 6 championships and the ways that they won them too. But then the thing that kind of separates Tom Brady and Michael Jordan is Tom Brady goes to another team, does the same exact fucking thing. Michael Jordan, he doesn't.
It's like if Jordan won a championship with the Wizards.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if that happened. And that's exactly what happened.
And it's also kind of reversed, too, because Phil Jackson goes to L.A. and wins. Belichick did that kind of before, but he was the defensive coordinator with the Giants with Parcells. But he still coached Lawrence Taylor, so.
Yeah. He's always he's been an established name in the business.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick,
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So that leaves us with an off season. That leaves us with, a season, that leaves us with a lot of questions around the league and, a lot of, I think this is the biggest draft in a very long time. I think this, with the talent and with everything that is at stake, not only with our football team, but with
a lot of teams.
Said New England included, said Tampa Bay included, said Kansas City included. I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason, like I said. And then I saw, like right now we're in like the kind of, now we would be in the combine phase right now. But a lot of these colleges are having pro days. Lawrence was throwing at the Clemson Pro Day. Alabama's having 2 pro days.
They got a lot of talent to showcase.
So I mean, that's pretty smart.
Mhm.
So I think there's no combine, but at least these scouts are still seeing these guys in action.
Yeah.
So that's something that that's something that's pretty important.
Yeah, I'm sad that there's not going to be a combine, because that is where you see a lot of like the pure athlete, like more. That's where you see like the project. They get labeled as like project type players. That's where you see them really shine through and really like bump the draft stock up. Like Justin Herbert was looking really good at his combine last year,
and then look what happens, Rookie of the Year.
And the pro days are all right, but combine is combine.
And there's something about the combine. Sorry, there's something about the combine too. Like Indianapolis, it's showcased. Everybody sees it.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. A lot of things are wrong about the combine. Don't get me wrong with like a lot of these. Like look at John Ross now. What do you run, like a 4.1, 4.2? Yeah,
people overvalue it a little bit, but you gotta find like the balance of like, the guy knows what he's doing on the field, and he's and he's a above average athlete, good enough to play with the guys on the next level. And it's gonna be harder for guys to showcase like their pure athleticism at the pro days.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys are, drafted, and what the NFL scouts and GMs and executives see in these players. Right now, I think it's pretty evident. It's just going to be evident, like who the Eagles need.
Mm-hmm.
We have our guys in mind, our 5, 6 guys that we can possibly take at number 6, but I think overtaking that right now is this whole fucked up situation that we are dealing with number 11. What do you think, Mike? What do you think? Because I heard names this week about Zach Ertz being in a potential trade. I'm at a point now. I'm gonna say my piece real quick. I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I don't care. I really don't care. I can live with either guy now. I really can. But I think this is a situation like no other that we've been in as a fan.
Yeah, this is the first like real QB controversy type thing that I've gone through as a full-time Eagles fan. But my takes on it, like, you're getting reports of offers with first-round picks involved, and I didn't think that was even a possibility going into this. But they're looking for 2, like for what the Lions got for Stafford is what they're looking to get for Wentz, and that just Why?
And listen,
he's not as good as Stafford. He's never.
Stafford
never been that good, but you're not getting 2 first-round picks for this fucking guy, especially after the season that he just put out.
And Stafford had consistency, and Goff has definitely had more consistency than Carson Wentz.
Well,
yeah, he has. Because you compare he's been good every year with McVay. Yeah, he's a system quarterback, but
Wentz's peaks have been higher than Goff's, I think. Like, if you put Carson Wentz on the Rams that season that they go to the Super Bowl, they would probably win, because Jared Goff played like shit.
Right, but you also got to remember Carson Wentz has been very, very, very injury prone. Jared Goff has not.
That's fair, yeah.
That's something that you really like. Carson Wentz is an ACL. Now, is that a different case if he's on the Rams? We don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm at the point now. Like, listen, I think both parties want to move on. I think right now you got to do what's best for both parties. If you can get a first round pick, take the first round fucking pick. But you cannot just get a first round pick. It can't be just a first round pick. It has to be something. I think
the teams that everybody's been throwing out there are the Colts and Bears. And
I heard the 49ers are also can
Really?
be. I heard something today about San
we're not
Francisco.
I doubt we're
I
getting
don't
there.
see them. I don't see them being as
It's
big.
Colts or Bears.
Yeah, and Indianapolis makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the most sense for either of these teams.
I think they're the ones that aren't offering a first. I heard some of the Bears offered a first, and the Colts offered like multiple day 2 picks over the next over this draft and next year's draft, which I really don't have a problem with. And
no.
Let's say hypothetically we do flip him for one of those for some picks. Do you take if Justin Fields is there at 6? Do you take him?
You don't fuck around with another quarterback.
What about Zach?
Jalen Hurts is your starter. You don't go with a quarterback. You try and build around Jalen Hurts, and you put your confidence in him. I think you should. I think if you commit to him being your starting quarterback, he's your starting quarterback. You build off him. It's his second year. That's it.
Just. Well, I mean, I guess
because then that's going to create
like
more of a fucked up situation, and you're going to waste picks where you can use those picks for skill players, for defensive help. You know, I think that's what takes bigger precedent right now. Because you can't. I mean, I'm just tired of hearing like, oh yeah, let's draft another quarterback. Oh yeah, let's go get Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or whatnot. Like, no. If they fall, they're falling for a reason. Now, if they turn out and be good, hey, you're wrong. Like, you know, shit happens. But when you need to build off the team needs, because right now, if you trade Carson Wentz for those day 2 picks and maybe for another player, you're set. Mm-hmm. You're set. You have your quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and you build around him. I just think it's ridiculous. I really just think it's ridiculous. Like I know people want to kind of just move on from this, and they just want to get rid of both and start fresh. But you gotta. I mean,
give Hurts give him a shot. Give Hurts like a full, well, at least like a half season. Like a full season to really gauge on like what we got.
And my thing is too, Mike, I think I said this before. You look at all the games he's played. He's not looked terrible. There's some bad. If the offense had some type of structure, he would have been I don't want to say, I can't say like anything crazy, but like he would have been pretty fucking good. Yeah. I should say better. He would have been better. He was pretty good.
I'm really hoping and praying that we get one of these receivers at 6 and if we finally get like that real wide receiver one that we haven't had in like ever. We haven't had a really good wide receiver since, I mean, like you could say Jeremy Maclin, but like he was never like I
think Deshaun Jackson was more way back when was more the number one.
Yeah.
You can also say Alshon. You can make a case for Alshon in 2017.
I'd still think that like all those guys are like solid number 2s. But if we get Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith, that's a number 1 receiver right out the gates.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've also been higher on Jalen Waddle.
I think he's going to be really good, but
so I think if you get one of those,
receiver 3 in this class.
Yeah, I think if you get one of those 3 still, there you go. You can develop them.
For me, it's like Jamar Chase is at the top, and then it's like a pretty sizable gap, and then Devontae Smith, and then a smaller gap than the one in between those two, and then number 3 is Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily if both of those other guys are off the board, I wouldn't be mad with a Jalen Waddle pick.
No, and you need a wide receiver. I think it's pretty clear. Mm-hmm. It's really clear. One of those 3 guys is going to be available at 6.
Yeah, if they're not, then I don't even know how the draft board's going. We could probably get
and that is something that the Eagles should prepare for. That is something that Howie Roseman should prepare for.
Yeah.
They just need to do. I mean, you hear all the fire Howie shit. You hear the bad media and press that Howie Roseman's getting, and that's obviously deserving of how.
You want to hear a stat real quick?
Yeah.
So there's 4 teams in the NFL that didn't make the playoffs this past season that are negative in the cap. It's the Eagles, Falcons, Raiders, and Vikings. And Falcons are at -31, Raiders at -18, Vikings at -8, and we're at almost -50. -$50 million. I don't
So we're
hold that.
So if I heard you correctly, we are out of those 4 teams, we are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the worst.
We're the lowest under the cap that didn't make the playoffs by a pretty good margin, by like 20 million.
And you look at those 4 teams.
Falcons,
Atlanta, not too far ago, Atlanta was in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right before we were.
Minnesota was competent a year ago. They won a playoff game a year ago. And Oakland, or the Raiders, they're probably in the best shape out of all 4 of them, just given like the talent that they have.
I think
they have some upside.
Yeah, they do.
And the Vikings also are pretty. I think Minnesota is probably more because they have more of a high-powered offense. They have more like guys that can change the game.
Yeah, they got to get what's his name? Zimmer's got to get that defense back into shape because they've fallen off. They were really good like not too long ago, but
I think if they can get some defensive pieces, they could be competitive with Green Bay.
I think them and Kansas City is going to just steamroll their ways to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm picking Kansas City to go back to the Super Bowl, which is going to be a super popular pick, but it's always going to be a super popular pick. And you got Mahomes under center, and if you have Aaron Rodgers under center, then you're also going to be a very popular pick to make the Super Bowl. But losing in the way that they did to Brady, I think that both those guys are going to come out firing on all cylinders.
Right. But I'm just kind of thinking about the NFC North next year. Like, if Minnesota does develop that defense, I think they are the biggest threat to Green Bay. And they can, let's say if their defense is back to like 2017 form, 2018 form, last year form, they could be a team. They could be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
With Dalvin Cook, Jefferson, and Thielen, with Kirk Cousins, and people underestimate the year that Kirk Cousins had. He had a pretty decent year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they did beat Green Bay once this year too.
Yeah, they did. I feel like they always beat them once. Dalvin Cook shits on the Packers every time.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this Russell Wilson crap? And it's not just Russell Wilson. A lot of these quarterbacks are unhappy in this league.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a point.
He does have a
point. More than any quarterback since in like the last 5 years by a pretty big gap. And it's, if you watch Seahawks games, it's very clear that offensive line is not good, and it hasn't been good in a really long time. But I mean, you got the weapons out there that really hard to come by in the NFL, and DK and Tyler Lockett. And the defense was good, not great at that back end of the season. First half of the season, it was like historically on pace to be like the worst passing defense ever. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I think it's just all smoke.
I think that's the same too. I think it's a big overreaction. But I do think he should have a say in what goes on with that team. Like, let's be real here.
I'm kind of surprised he doesn't. He's been there for a while. He won a Super Bowl.
He's been there for many years. He's very well respected. He won a Super Bowl. Easily the best, probably the best, second best player in that team's history. Maybe
definitely one of them.
I think he's been the catalyst with this team ever since basically during the entire Pete Carroll era. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think deserves a say. I also think Aaron Rodgers deserves a say with Green Bay.
Quarterback always should. Well, superstar quarterbacks like these guys deserve say.
Yeah, I mean, and also, too, like Aaron Rodgers has been there for, 12, 13 years in Green Bay. He's only won one fucking Super Bowl. He's won one fucking Super Bowl. He should have won it. He should have at least 2 on his finger. Drew Brees should have had more of a say when he was in New Orleans. Now he might still be there, but
that'll be
actually no. I don't think he should because he's on his way out.
Yeah,
but I'm saying like these guys that are still good,
yeah,
should be given some leeway.
It's like LeBron. Like wherever LeBron goes, LeBron takes control of the roster, and
exactly.
Yeah, and the quarterback is the most important position on the field. Everybody knows that.
Yeah,
so I don't know why they wouldn't have a say. And
and Aaron Rodgers just won the MVP. He just won the MVP.
I don't know why that guy doesn't have a say in what goes on in that organization.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe he might have another couple rings on his finger. You never know. Just little differences.
Yeah.
I'm going to touch on the NBA.
All right.
Sixers are going through a little bit of a rough go at it. But they're playing the Western Conference. The Western Conference is very good. Portland has their number this year so far. That end of the game, I don't think you saw it, but
no, I didn't watch it.
The Portland game, it was just the inbound by Ben Simmons. It was horrific. He still had a couple more seconds to use. They went down to Phoenix. They lost to the Suns and Devin Booker. Tonight, they just announced that Joel Embiid's out. 9:00 game against the best team. They are the best team, the Utah Jazz, right? They are the best team in the Western Conference.
Record-wise, yeah. They're the number one.
Record-wise. Not really a team you hear about a lot.
No, not really.
I
will continue to be in a absolute coma on this team. I will sleep on them until they prove me wrong because I'm certain that they won't. They're not winning anything. I'm sorry. They're a first-round exit.
I don't think they're a first-round exit. I just think, I think they're
not winning anything. They're not going to the Western Conference Finals. They're very clearly not going to the finals or winning the finals. I don't believe in the Jazz. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't believe in the Jazz? I thought you were talking about the Sixers.
Oh, no. The Sixers are the real deal.
I was about to say. I was like, oh.
What's interesting though is that the Sixers would be like the 4 seed in the West right now.
That's insane.
1 game up on the Suns.
Well, I think there's just too much talent in the Western Conference. There's too much talent. And basketball is also another streaky sport. Mm-hmm. And they're playing good basketball. They've been very good in their last few games. What was it? I think they won 9 of their last 10?
Who, the Jazz?
Yeah, there's something like
that.
They're
on a pretty lengthy streak right now of probably 12 of their last 14, 15.
So, and there's still a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah.
And you're in a very good conference.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're gonna. I'm predicting that they're gonna tail off, finish as 4 seed, 3 seed max, and first round bounce from Dallas or Portland or Golden State. Golden State could knock them out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just.
Steph Curry.
If they keep this up, they could go a little farther. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
And
Anthony Davis just sprained his calf though, or something.
They're still going to win. They're still going to win.
I mean, probably
it's the Lakers. It's LeBron.
Yeah, they're always going to be the favorite. But yeah, that's something to note. I don't think it'll play a huge role in much going forward, but it is, something.
Yeah. But I think as in the Sixers case, I think tonight
it's a big game for both teams. Sixers on a rough patch.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The Sixers are a 7-point underdog without Joel Embiid.
Yeah, if he's out.
And they've lost the last 2 games. So I'm not liking
Whatever.
it. And also, the Sixers are 14-1 in Utah in the last few times they played.
Well, there you go.
Or no, 1-14.
Oh. If Embiid's not playing, I don't like our chances against many teams, but especially a team as hot as Utah. And, I'll give them credit. They're on fucking fire right now. They are playing really, really good team basketball. Everybody's playing well.
And the thing
Rebo's
is, no one's
really
talking
good
about them. Nobody's talking about them. Like, I don't see anything
because I
on.
think we do have a lot of people like me that are just they. Doesn't matter how good they play in the regular season. I just don't see it translating, or for one reason or another, I just don't see it for the Jazz this year.
Yeah, and that's fair. Also, it's kind of a young team still. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, what, his third year?
Yeah, it's like low 20s, still 25,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, they're still a pretty young team, so we'll see what happens. I mean, tonight's obviously a big game. If the Sixers can steal it, great. I think if the Sixers do end up winning this game,
It's a big boost.
I think it's a huge boost. I think this team is because then you'll be what 2 wins without Joel Embiid against a really good basketball team. Says a lot, but we'll see. I mean, I just do not see it happening.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I don't know what it is about the Jazz, but Sixers are really. I mean, these games they feel winnable, but they just let the other team hang around, and then they go on like a 10-0 run.
They just don't bury them. They don't bury them when they can. They don't bury them when they can, which is ridiculous.
They take Embiid out in like the fourth quarter before the game is decided. Like when it's still going, like lead changes back and forth because I feel like there's a lot of those games with this team. Lead changes back and forth in the fourth quarter. You take Embiid out, they go on like a 10-5 or like a 10-0 run, and then we're in a hole. Then Embiid comes back out, but
we'll see.
Either win a close game or lose.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting as the season kind of starts to dwindle down. And Mike, can you believe it? 2 days from today, pitchers and catchers. Pitchers and it's just unbelievable.
The baseball season's here.
The baseball season is here. I feel like I can breathe.
I'm gonna try this year.
You're gonna try.
I'm gonna do what I can. I was trying to read some baseball stuff earlier, and I was thinking about trying to do some I predict some playoff teams, and you tell me. I'll try to give some bold takes on these teams that I don't know much about.
All right. I mean, do you have anything right now?
Here, hold on. All right. So
I can't wait to hear that. I cannot wait.
I don't know. I think the Braves are still going to win our division.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Right. I think the Orioles win the AL East.
Okay.
No.
Were you kidding?
Yes.
I was about to say.
I don't actually have very much there. I just wanted to jokingly say that the Orioles were going to win the World Series.
They were actually decent for a part of last year, and then they just, they became the Orioles again.
Shit happens in the MLB, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Marlins made the playoffs last year, but it was also 16 teams. But so they made 16 teams last year, just for last year.
Yeah.
They did rule this year that they'll do the two when doubleheaders are 7 innings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they will not have a universal DH.
Oh yeah. I heard that.
My thing is now I'm in a minority. I cannot stand the universal DH. I love it the way it is.
No, that's one of the things that I've actually had an opinion on in baseball. I don't see why there wouldn't be a universal DH because, pitchers don't ever hit anyway. I don't want to see the pitchers go out there and try to hit.
And I understand that, but it also makes the bench players you have to have a good bench in the National League.
That's true. You can't just have
you have to have, and I think that's what makes the game unique. Because there's no specific rule change in the NFL when an NFC team plays an AFC team.
Yeah.
And and not in basketball, not in hockey with the Eastern and the Western conferences. I think baseball is the only sport that has it, and I appreciate it as a fan. I've loved it, and it's always fun. And listen, I understand it's a free out. I understand it's it gets boring, but look at the moment when Bartolo Colon hit a home run.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna have those moments. Like that's a top moment in baseball, and I cannot stand the Mets. The Mets are my least favorite team in all sports. But
watching that guy.
But watching him hit a home run, that's like a type of moment that gives people hope. That gives people hope.
He can do that. I can get through this shit that I'm going through.
Exactly. That's the type of mentality. I like the 7-inning doubleheader. Also, another rule is on extra innings, starting a runner at second base. I can live with that. Not a fan. I don't want to say I'm a fan. I'm not going to endorse it, but I can live with it for a year.
You said starting in extra innings?
Extra innings, so the 10th inning.
Yeah, the dude on second base.
There's a guy on second.
Okay, that's kind of weird, but I guess it's all an effort to like speed the game up, I guess.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, which it needs, I think. I think even you could admit.
I think in the era of COVID, I think sure.
Mm-hmm.
But once COVID is not a thing,
yep.
It needs to go back to normal.
Yeah,
everything needs to go back to normal. Maybe keep the 7-inning doubleheaders.
Yeah,
everything needs to go back to the way it was.
This could be a year for the MLB to toy with shit that just changes the game, makes it go by a little faster to try to get more people to tune in. Because
I think that was what they used last year for, and I don't think it worked bad. But this year is going to be a little bit of a step of normalcy because you'll have 162 games.
Mm-hmm.
Teams will have a full spring training. Teams will. Oh, sorry, I keep shaking my computer. Teams will have. I think there's going to be a point this season where all 30 clubs are going to have fans in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if we're headed towards that point anymore. I don't.
Well, New York State said 10% on February 23rd.
All right, well there you go. There's something. I don't even know COVID statistics anymore. I haven't heard anything at all in the past couple weeks.
All I hear is about the vaccine, which is pretty bad. I mean, it should be pretty updated, but I think like I said, I still think we're near the end than we are to the beginning, closer to the end than the beginning, but
I really fucking hope so, dude. I'm getting sick of this shit.
All right. Cover baseball, cover the NFL, cover the combine, the draft, touched on the Eagles. Mike, any final thoughts?
I don't think so. I think I'm all good.
All right. So we're in a dead period. I think this is like the time of year where nothing's going on. I think next week, once pitchers and catchers start, and then once you have spring training start, I feel like it's worth it for a year. Then the tournament starts next month, so that's going to be – we're actually going to have the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, I forgot we didn't even have that last year.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be nice to have back.
Be a great thing to have back. Step towards normalcy, Michael.
Slowly but surely.
All right. That is it.
All right, wrap it up.
Take care.
You too, Johnny.